Flip to Freedom, episode number 2. Hello again, this is Sean Terry from flip2freedom.com. I'd like to welcome you for our second podcast, and I'm here to help you escape the 9-to-5 and live the lifestyle of your dreams by learning how you can make a fortune flipping properties in your spare time, even if you're just getting started today. Now, in this episode, we're going to discuss the 7 effective steps to wholesaling. We're going to break them down on each individual step on exactly what to do and what I do on a daily basis. We're going to define wholesaling so you understand exactly what that is. And then in the future episodes, I'm going to take each section of the 7 steps, and I'm going to basically do an entire podcast exactly on how I do what I do and set it up. So if you'd like to receive a free blueprint that I put together on how to quit your job in 19 weeks or less, I've got unbelievable rave reviews on it, and it's just been great. It's a great free report on exactly each week what you need to do to be able to quit your job in 19 weeks or less. So it's at flip2freedom.com. You can go there. On the front page there, you'll see a download now button. Just enter your email address and you can download it for absolutely free. All right, so let's get right into our podcast today and talk about wholesaling. If you don't know what wholesaling is basically finding a motivated seller, getting the property under contract for a number, and then finding a motivated buyer that wants to buy it at cash and selling that contract for a higher price. It's really very simple. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a $100,000 property, and that's the after repair value of the property is $100,000, and you find a motivated seller that wants to be done with the property, and you get the property under contract. You tie it up via contract for, let's say, $60,000. That's 40% below market, $60,000. And you turn around and sell it to the motivated buyer, cash buyer, at $70,000, which is 30% below market. And he turns around and he will buy the property cash. He'll close quickly, and he will do all the renovation, and then he'll turn around and sell it and make a profit on it. So what the great thing about wholesaling is it takes absolutely no cash or credit from you. It's just the paper to be able to write up the contract with the motivated seller, and then you open escrow with the property, and then you can turn around and sell it to the cash buyer, and you will get the difference. The cash buyer will fund in the $70,000, of which $10,000 will go to you, and the other $60,000 will go to the seller. So that's the basic definition of wholesaling. Now, if we want to get into the 7 effective steps of wholesaling, the first one is to set up your business. Now, setting up your business, you want to set it up correctly, of course. And there's some pieces that you want to have in place to successfully launch it. The second one is marketing for buyers. Third one is marketing for sellers. Fourth one is getting the contract. Fifth one's opening escrow. Sixth one is selling the property. And seventh one is, should you do an assignment or a double escrow? And that is the final step of the 7 steps, and obviously then collecting your big check. Now, let's get into step 1, which is setting up your business. First thing you want to do is you want to find you can use an attorney, but set up an LLC. I would suggest that right off the bat. That's the first thing you want to do is have an LLC so you can run it through your company. Then for tax purposes, you can give it to your accountant, and you can take off certain deductions like advertising and any other deductions like cell phone or gas or car, whatever, any other deductions you might have that's resulted around that business. And the best way to set up an LLC is just Google online and LLC setup. I use a company called ParalegalPlus.com. You can go that. I think they do more of the West Coast states, but they might be national now, but you can check that if you'd like. And the next thing that is crucial is find a closing agent. This could be a title company, or if you're in some states that use attorneys, you want to interview at least 2 or 3 good closing agents that will do your properties. And the thing that is extremely important about a closing agent, one, is they have to be personable, and they have to be someone that's going to be working with your sellers and your buyers. So you want to have someone that's very good with people. Number 2, you have to find out if they can do a double escrows, which is extremely important. Now, if you don't know what a double escrow is, a double escrow is where you have 2 separate escrows, and each escrow will close simultaneously. Now, in our example of our $100,000 house that we were talking about earlier, that we got in contract for $60,000, there's 2 ways you can basically sell that. That would be via an assignment. An assignment is where basically you're selling your contract to the buyer for a fee of $10,000. So you have a $60,000 contract and you're going to sell it for $10,000. That's assignment. Or number 2 is double escrow. Now, double escrow is where you open 2 physical escrows at the title company or your closing agent, and escrow number 2 is going to be your buyer, and that's going to be from you to your buyer. That's basically you're selling the property for $70,000, and what's going to happen is that buyer is going to wire in $70,000 into escrow, and of which that would basically fund that transaction. The money's going to flow through to escrow number 1, which is the contract between the motivated seller and yourself, for $60,000. And that $70,000 is going to pay the first escrow. The $60,000 is going to pay that to the motivated seller. That's going to pay for any of the closing costs, and the balance is going to be left over, which is going to be yours, which would be roughly $10,000 less closing cost. Now, we'll get more in depth on what a double escrow versus an assignment, but having a closing agent to be able to do these type of transaction is crucial to your success. So that's what you want to ask them when you're first getting started. Obviously, you want to have business cards. I actually got 2 different type of business cards. I got business cards from networking, meeting other investors and stuff like that. And also I got business cards that I leave everywhere I go that basically says, I'll buy your house fast for cash. It has my telephone number and web address on there. When you're setting up your business, let me try to give a broader concept. With the internet now, where a lot of people go online and they research, people and research, what they need to do to sell their house. Anywhere from 80 to 90% of the initial people wanting to sell their house or wanting to buy a house, it starts online. So having a web presence is absolutely crucial. Don't let that scare you. In my system I have at flip2freedom.com, we have an entire comprehensive course that's in all high-def video tutorials that will walk you through the entire process. It's so simple, it's not even funny. But the concept is basically setting up your websites. You're going to have a website for sellers that a seller can go to. There's going to be an easy form that they can fill out their name, their email address, their property address, how much they owe on their mortgage. They're going to click submit, and then you're going to get an email right directly to your inbox with all their information on it. Websites are great to be able to deliver free reports and information, but we can show you exactly how to do that. Now, once you have basically the website set up and all that type of stuff, then then you can start now basically marketing for buyers. The goal at first is you want to get as many buyers as you possibly can. Now, there's 2 different ways to market for buyers. There's the free way, and then there's the paid way to market for buyers. Now, let's say you have your website set up, and now this is going to be for a buyer's website. And on the buyer's website, it's real simple. It just says, our website says, Wholesale properties for sale, 20 to 40% below market. Has a little description of the type of properties that we deliver, and then it has a simple email address. All they have to do is put in their email address and press submit, and now they will go into our database for people that we will email our wholesale properties to. Marketing for buyers, the free way is you'd have this website set up, and the one unbelievably effective way to find these buyers is through free classified sites like Craigslist, Backpage, and now it's eBay Ads, I think it is. It used to be Kijiji, now it's eBay classified ads. But you can go to Craigslist.org, I believe it is, or you can go to Backpage.com, or just type in Google eBay Classified, and they have all the same concept. And basically what Craigslist is, you can post an ad for free, and what you want to do is you want to post it in the under houses for sale by owner. And what I do in a tagline, it says, wholesale properties available to cash buyers, 20 to 40% below market. And then just put a little snippet in there of an ad, and then of what you offer, and then put at the bottom the link to your website. They'll click on that link, they'll go to your website, and they'll fill out the form to get on your buyer's list. It's extremely effective. I mean, we sign up anywhere from 15 to 20 brand new buyers a week just off Craigslist, and then there's obviously Backpage and Kijiji. So, doing that. Now, if we talk about the next effective way is PPC advertising, and that is pay-per-click advertising. Google, if you're ever wondering how they make money, there's a long time I had no clue how these guys made money and why their stock was just going through the roof. But once I started looking in how their advertising works, I got a real clear picture of how they made money. The bottom line is what they do is they have what's called paid advertising. And you'll see, if you Google any search term, you'll see at the top that will say, there'll be sponsored search, and there'll be in a slight highlighted yellow section, and that will be right the first section when you right up top of the search fields. And then there's going to be a bunch of ads all the way down the right hand side, and those are all paid search terms as well. Now what you can do is you can buy clicks. You can put an ad on the Google for a search term, and you can show up on that first page. Now, clicks can range from 5 cents, or they can range all the way up to $50 a click. Now, I don't pay anywhere near $50 a click, but I do know people that do. Now, the great thing about Google is you can do a specific region. If you want to focus, like I'm here in Phoenix, if you just want to focus on Phoenix, you can focus on Phoenix, and you can actually even exclude cities within that region. So you can basically target your specific area of exactly what you want to do. And then you just put a simple ad on there. Wholesale properties, for sale, 20 to 40% below market. Click here. They'll go to your website. They'll be able to fill out the form. You'll have your email capture form on there, and they'll go into your database, which I use what's called aweber.com, and we'll explain in detail exactly how to set that up. But Aweber captures the leads and it puts it into a database, and then if you want to email them a property in the future, you can just fill out a simple email and press broadcast, and it'll broadcast out to the list that you specify. So you're going to have a list in there, 2 different lists. You're going to have a list for sellers, and also you're going to have a list for motivated buyers as well. So there's other ways to market for buyers. Twitter is a phenomenal way to market for buyers. You can set up an account at twitter.com, and you can put your LLC name or your personal name or whatever you'd like. But what you can do is there's a part of Twitter. It's search.twitter.com, and put in wholesale properties, and then put your city, or put real estate and then put your city. And then what you want to do is follow everybody that is has those real estate in properties, or real estate in wholesale properties, whatever it is, in your area. So you can turn around and you can follow all these individuals, and 40 to 50, even 60% of the time, those people will follow you back. Now, if you don't know exactly what Twitter is an amazing, it's a platform. It's just been absolutely blown up. It's everywhere now, but the bottom line is that it's a 140 character platform. It's a micro blogging platform, and people can follow. It's an amazing thing where you can actually get real time results. There's actually in Phoenix here, there was an earthquake that happened. I think it was, when was this? It was actually Easter weekend here in Phoenix, and we're all over at my wife's aunt's house, and we're having Easter dinner, and the whole house started shaking, and the lights started flinging back and forth. So my wife's uncle, typed into Google earthquake in Phoenix, and obviously Google is great, and they're pretty quick on putting up results, but it takes hours and hours to do. One thing great about Twitter is that we went right onto twittersearch.com and we put in earthquake Phoenix, and amazing. There was probably 100 different results of people that tweeted earthquake results in Phoenix. So it's great to get real-time information. It's also great to build a buyer's list, because you can follow all people that have an interest in real estate. They'll follow you back, and then you can post in the 140-word blogging platform there, microblogging platform, a link to your buyer site, or you can have it in your profile there on your right-hand side. It's great marketing, and it's absolutely free, which is great. Google actually costs money. There's another platforms like Yahoo Search, and also there's MSN Ad Center. What I would suggest is you can get Google functioning correctly, so you have it set up exactly the way you want it, and it's working correctly. Then I would move to Yahoo, and then I would move to MSN Ad Center. Now, let's talk about marketing for sellers. Marketing for sellers is a blast. I love, it's scary at first when your phone starts ringing, or you start getting emails coming in with people looking for properties. You kind of freak out, and you don't know what to do, but having leads consistently coming to you for people that are motivated sellers is gold. Now, the great thing about this is that, let's say you have a job, and you have a full-time job, and you're working from 9 to 5, and you have weekends off, and you have some time in the night. You can basically set up this system to where you can have direct mail going out, you can have traffic going to your motivated seller site, and you can have leads coming into your inbox, and you have voicemails that come into we set up what's called an eVoice account. You can just Google eVoice.com, and it's basically $4.95 a month. You can get a local number, and it will capture all your voicemails and email them to you in MP3 format. Or you can open them up, and it'll open up in iTunes or any audio thing that you can hear MP3s on. So that's a great way where if you're working a job, that you can have leads coming in, and you can handle these leads on your own time. Now I try to call them back as soon as I possibly can, just to be able to find out more information about the property, and then set up an appointment with them. So when we're dealing with marketing for sellers, the first and most effective way marketing for sellers is direct mail. Direct mail is called direct response, to where the goal is to get them to call you and leave a voicemail, and then you have the ability to call them back. Now, in direct mail, there are multiple lists you can target. You can target probate, you can target inheritance, you can target absentee owners, which had to have rental properties. You can target code violations. But the bottom line is that the most effective way is to find people with equity. See, in this current real estate market right now, there are tons and tons and tons of foreclosures. There's people upside down. People that bought properties in 2004, 2005, and 2006 that have dropped dramatically in value. So what you're looking for is people that are motivated, that have equity. Now, our best source for finding motivated sellers is the inheritance list. An inheritance is where someone inherited a property from a deceased father, deceased mother, whatever the case may be. And first off, a lot of people like that don't have an emotional tie to the property. And number two, they don't want to get in the rental business. They don't want to manage the taxes. They don't want to, deal with any of the type of headaches that dealing with the property. So they just want to sell it and get rid of it. I just give an example. We recently did a campaign. We sent out 750 letters. I'm going to get into the exact letter that we sent, but 750 letters, and out of those letters, we've got multiple calls off them. We had a lot of people that said, hey, we're not ready now, but we'll be ready here, in the next couple months. So we follow up with them. But we did get, out of those 750, we've got 2 of them that we were able to purchase and or actually get under contract and then turn around and sell, and we made close to $40,000 on those 2, those 2 deals. Now, let me back up real quick. Let me back all the way back to the beginning real quick. The goal is for you to quit your job, right? Get out of your job, get rid of the egotistical boss, get rid of having to wake up early in the morning, get through rush hour traffic, and sit there at work all day and just think about going home or whatever. If you hate your job, then this is definitely the place for you. But for you to be able to quit your job, the first thing is have to have a goal. And I would suggest take your yearly income and make it a goal to get that much money in the bank. And when you have that much money in the bank, then you can consider quitting. For an example, let's say you make $80,000 a year. Let's call it $40,000 a year. You make $40,000 a year, have it a goal to do this, to flip properties on a wholesale basis, part-time in your spare time, and get $40,000 cash in your bank. And then you can say, you know what, I've got a year's worth of income in the bank. Now let me focus on the business. And then you can go tell your boss you're done. Give them a 2-week notice and say you're done. Now, on these 2 specific deals I'm talking about, we sent out 750 letters. We got the calls that came into a voicemail. We called back the people in the voicemail. And out of 750, we got maybe, I think there were 75 responses or so. And out of 75 responses, we've got 2 deals out, and that totaled roughly $40,000 on those deals. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's phenomenal. That's great. That's awesome. You might not do that great. I don't know, but it works because you have motivated sellers. Now, the basic rule of thumb is for every 25 leads you'll get 1 deal. That's pretty much the basic rule of thumb. And you might get the first deal in your first 10 leads, and you might get another couple after that. But that's the bottom line. So the goal is to get a lot of leads coming in, so you have a choice to figure out which ones are the most motivated and which ones aren't. So direct mail is key. And what list you market to is key. Probate is great. Another list we go after is absentee owners. That means there's owners out of state that own investment property, okay, that bought their property, or the original deed date, the original deed on the mortgage date, was from 1999 and below, okay. So 1999 and below, that means they have a mortgage that's at least 11 years old, so they've had time to pay on it. A lot of people at the time, they put down 20 and 30%, sometimes fully cash. And a lot of those deals have equity in them. So when people call up, there's going to be a motivation. I just talked to a guy yesterday, called up. He has a rental property, and he just wants to get rid of it. The renter left the property, left the place completely trashed. The comps in the area about $90,000. I think I can pick it up for around $30,000. $100,000. Great deal. And he's a motivated person. I walked in there, and it needs a lot of work. It needs about, probably 10 to, more than 10, probably, $15,000 to $18,000 worth of work. So those deals are great, and the guy's obviously motivated because he doesn't want to have to deal with it. Next thing is PPC ads. You can market just like you're marketing with pay-per-click ads for motivated sellers. You can market motivated buyers. You can market for motivated sellers. Now, which I didn't cover earlier, a pay-per-click, you basically bid on what's called keywords. And a keyword is wholesale homes for sale, or wholesale properties for sale, or fixer-upper properties for sale, and then put, Phoenix, put, Chicago, put whatever city you're in. And then you can bid on those specific keywords, and then you will show up in the top of Google, and they'll click on that, go to your website, and fill out the form. You can do the exact same thing for sellers. Now, if a seller's motivated and they want to get rid of the house, what do you think they type into Google? Well, they probably type in, sell my house fast. They could do that. Or sell home now. Or sell home quickly. Or stop foreclosure. Or we buy ugly houses. Or we buy houses fast. All those are called keywords that you can bid on those specific keywords. And your ad will show up when someone within your region puts that keyword, and they will click on it. They will be taken to a website where they can fill out a form online. And that form will basically send you an email with all the information you're requesting. Now, in our pay-per-click right now that we are doing, we get roughly about anywhere from a 10 to 12% conversion rate from people that hit our site, the people that fill out the form. On our form, for buyers, we're about a 33 to a 50% conversion rate on those on specific keywords that we're doing right now. So the next thing you want to do is after the marketing. Okay, so let's back up. So someone clicks on your ad or calls you. You call them back and you ask the right appropriate questions to find out more details about the property. Once you know that information, you can determine if it's a deal. And how do you determine if it's a deal? Well, you got to find comparable sales to see if between what they owe or what they want and what the property's worth. The absolute best way to find comparable sales is to team up with a realtor that will that you can send a property to. They can check the multi-listing service for active properties, pending properties, enclosed properties, and in that specific subdivision. That's the number one way. You can go have a relationship with a realtor. The number two way is you can go to a website called Zillow.com. You can go to Zillow, and you can go there. And what I do when going to Zillow is you're looking for... And now when you go into Zillow, you put in an address, the address comes up, and they give you what's called a Zestimate. But also there's these little yellow boxes, and then there's red boxes, and that are little houses. And then you can click on those little boxes, and it'll tell you the square footage of the property, and it'll tell you when it sold. Okay, I would typically write down those addresses and see the square footage is close enough to the square footage that of the subject property. Now, in future podcasts, through this series I'm putting together, I will go in detail, on how to do this. I mean, because this is crucial to understanding if you have a deal or if you don't have a deal. I'll give you an example. I just talked to a guy yesterday. He's actually a cash buyer that was going to buy a property from us. Now, we happen to already sell it. I know comps inside and out in this particular area of town. It comped all day long at $225,000. There was comps within the neighborhood. There was listings, active listings in that area for $250,000 and higher. It was a great house, and the guy called up and says, "Well, I think it's worth $175,000," and I asked him, "How did you justify that?" And he had no clue. He basically, had no clue on how to read a comp. He was looking at two-story properties that were 400 or 500 less in square footage versus looking at properties where they're between 200 square feet of the subject property. So, like I said, I'm going to get more into that in detail. That is another whole subject that could take another we've been like, holy cow, 28 minutes, but but it could be another 28 minutes on exactly about that specific subject. So getting the contract is the first thing you want to do is set the appointment. Once you set the appointment, check the comparable sales and make sure that you do have a deal. And then if for some reason the comparable sales don't check out and the property is upside down, then what you can do is you can refer them to this particular agent that's helping you out that could potentially list it for a short sale. The next one would be build rapport. When you meet the person, you set up an appointment, you have a deal you believe, you go to the property and you meet with them. You want to build rapport. That is crucial. I don't ever talk about money. I don't ever talk about offers. I don't ever talk about anything until I've built a level of rapport with the person before I even discuss numbers, offers, comps, or anything. I usually go in, I listen. I ask them lots of questions and try to find out as much as I can about the person. I walk the entire property with them, and I try to find a connection point where I can build rapport with them. Once you build rapport with someone and you have that rapport, you'll know it, and then you can go into the numbers and start negotiating. Next one's fear of loss. A lot of people go and they get a contract, and they just say, okay, well, if you'd like to sell your house, then, just give me a call. Well, I don't do it that way. I set a deadline, and I do fear loss. Fear loss is a motivation, just like desire for gain is. There's two major motivations in a person. One is desire for gain of what they can get out of it, and two is fear of loss. The bigger motivation out of the two, I'm telling you, is fear of loss. Now, how would you fear loss, go about fearing loss someone, and like I said, in the future podcast I'll go into detail on this, but for right now, for fear loss, a great way to do fear loss is say, listen, I've only got enough available funds to purchase one more property here in the next 30 days. Now, I do have other appointments I'm going to be going to, so if you are interested, I need to know by this time. If not, then I'm going to have to commit to somebody else, and I'm going to have to bump you out for about 30 days. That works phenomenal, because people typically, if they're motivated, they need some incentive to make a decision. So basically what you're doing is you're giving them a deadline to make a decision, right there on the spot. The other thing is, like I said, we'll get into that. I could go on and on about fear loss and what to do. So now, the next step is once you now have the contract and they sign the contract, is opening up escrow. You're going to open up escrow with your escrow agent, or if you're in, say, New York, you're going to have an attorney that's going to close it for you. And then now, you want to, after you have that, they're going to open up, they're going to pull the title report, they're going to find out if the property is, whatever liens or judgments or mortgages are on the property, they're going to get those payoffs for you, and they're going to figure out what the taxes are owed, and they're basically, you're going to have a number now of exactly what you're in the property for, what you're, exactly what you're buying it for, and then you can start marketing it. Once you have that information, then you line up, you can start sending an email out to your VIP buyers, to your buyers list, and then it'll be a simple email of, here's the property address, here's the 3-bed, 2-bath, X amount of square feet, and this is what I'm asking for it, and this is how you can look at it. Just we put a lockbox code on the property if we can get access to it, and then people can go over there and they can start looking at the property. Now, the best methods of distribution is email. I'm going to tell you what we do for our distribution. First off is we have our VIP buyers list, and that they get a text alert. We work with an SMS texting service, and we have a database that we uploaded into the text service, and we basically just do a text message, and it comes right to their phones. It has a link to our website, and it has all the details about the property, plus the lockbox code so they can go look at it if they'd like. This is a great method for distributing information lightning fast. People absolutely love it to get the text messages, and what we do is for our VIP buyers and we'll talk about VIP buyers, because remember on your website, your simple what's called a squeeze page, where they just enter their email. Once they enter their email, they're going to be redirected to another page, and that is going to give them a free report, a free market report. And then also too, what it's going to do is it's going to ask them for more information on exactly what they're looking for. So that's the first way. Text messaging is the first one we do. Second one we do is through email distribution. Email distribution works great, and basically they can get an email with all the detailed information that we just discussed. That's an awesome way. Also, too, is we do via Twitter. We send Twitter out, a Twitter message about the property with a link, basically going back to, you can go back to a website that explains more detail about the property, or just give them some information with your phone number inside there, and they'll call right out of Twitter. We also put it on Facebook. We have a Facebook fan page of Arizona Wholesale Properties, or Arizona Cash Flow Properties. And they will go on there. We post that on the Facebook fan page. You drop our number in there, and then we call. We've sold tons of properties off of Facebook and Twitter. So it it just works great. All right, now, should you do a double escrow or an assignment? Now you got your buyer. Buyer calls up, asks you some question. He looks at the property, says, I'm in. He says, send me a contract. You take the exact same contract you used to buy the property. You make the contract, and now you are the seller, and you put your buyer's name on there. You put a price that's negotiated on, and we'll talk about negotiating with the buyers. That's another thing I can get into you with on another podcast in the future here. But the bottom line is you're going to get a contract, and you're going to get a contract between you and the buyer. Now you're going to get that contract over to the escrow company. Now, there's going to be two different choices. Doing a double escrow, which we talked about earlier, or you can do an assignment. An assignment is basically selling your position. In their example of a $100,000 example, you have a $60,000 contract. You can assign that or sell your position for $10,000, and he can buy that property now for $70,000. You can do the same thing. What is the rule of thumb of assignment versus double escrow? Well, this is what we use. If our profit is over $10,000, then we will do a double escrow. If our profit is under $10,000, $10,000 or under, then we will just do an assignment, which is basically typical. Now, assignment's great because you don't have to pay closing costs. You don't have to pay closing costs in two separate escrows. And on double escrow, you're going to pay two different closing costs. Now, you should be asking for investor rates when closing properties, and then it'll pretty much give you a 50% discount on any closing cost. That's back to the title company. Now, after they do that, the title company will do everything. They will call the sellers. They will call the buyers. They will get all the appropriate documents. They'll get everything signed. They'll put everything together for you. You'll come in and sign your side if it's double escrow, and in the assignment agreements, whatever is set up, they'll do everything for you, and they'll request the wire from the buyer. They'll close the funds, release the funds to the seller, and then they'll release funds to you, and you can get your funds via a check, or you can get your funds via wire. We always have our funds wired directly to our account. So that is basically 7 steps. You collect your check, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, we closed. What is today? Today is I think it's, what is today? Today is Thursday, the 29th of April. We closed 2 deals yesterday. One was a deal that we call what's called the super wrap retail, and we'll get more into that, and that's a strategy you have to know. This strategy is unbelievable because you can make a ton of money off properties that have little or no equity. When you have those leads come in and there's little to no equity where you can do anything with, this super wrap retail is the ticket for you. And we'll get into detail in the future on that. But that has made us a ton of money. So we closed one of those yesterday, and we made about 10 grand on that. And I'll give an example on this one. The property was listed on the market for $135. We bought it from the guy for $129, and we still made $10,000. Ask us how we did that. Well, we'll get into more detail in the future episodes. And the next thing we're going to talk about here in the future on the podcast is go in detail on each one of these steps, in detail exactly what we do for each one. And I'm going to try to keep the podcast shorter to like around 20-25 minutes instead of doing these 38-minute ones here. But that's what we're going to talk about here in the future episodes. And if you'd like to stay tuned, I would greatly appreciate it. Or hit our website at flip2freedom.com. We have blog on there. We have other podcasts on there. And also, if you'd like to check out how you can get the free report, go to flip2freedom.com. And on the front page there, you can see where it says enter your name and email. There'll be a video of me on there where you can enter that information, and you'll get delivered right to your inbox a basic blueprint of exactly what we're going to be talking about here on how to quit your day job in 19 weeks or less. And it's, like I said, it's awesome. We got rave reviews. So please go to the website, check that out. I look forward to getting to know you and helping you quit your job and you're able to live the lifestyle of your dreams. So until episode 3, I hope you have a great next couple weeks, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, and God bless.